Part of them is preventing part of the charges. Question for I hope you can hear me in Gambia. I hope you can hear me because I was asking people to confirm if they hear me. Like this time we are not having a lot of people engaging on the comments, but really it would mean a lot for you guys to really say something. Let us not fight. Anyway, these are the 95 people who have been arrested. And the intelligence, we don't have any intelligence. There's only intelligence when they are after someone else. But that same intelligence could not really apprehend these guys. These 95 guys coming to guys. Next thing is, it is not even about security. Guys getting military training. And you have the head of police going to that place as if he knows that they are going to do something. But deep down, he knows that this is a useless exercise, because if really it was not that useless, they would have done something about it. I've seen this tweet, which I thought it's interesting. Um, the tweet was from Ryan Cummings. He says, the Libyans are members of the so-called Tariq bin Had Brigade that is affiliated with notorious Libyan National Army commander Khalifa Haftar. The Libyans were sent to South Africa to receive training as special forces under supervision of an undisclosed Irish security firm. Again, this thing is happening in South Africa. They came to receive special forces, but our own intelligence says that we thought these guys are security. It gives us a question. How many more are in South Africa that are training? How many more camps where there are people training, military training? We know South Africa is a very open place where people have rights and freedom. It's not like the other countries where if you do something, they are going to pounce on you. Just over 2 weeks ago, there were people in Limpopo. There was a farm in Groblersdal, Limpopo. In that farm, this guy, the owner of a farm, working with two Mexicans and a black guy, they have they are producing cocaine to the amount of 2 billion. These people have decided that South Africa is a free country. We can do as we like. Mind you, if it was not for those people who decided to alert the police, no one would have been apprehended, because the police only go to the place where they are told that something is happening. If there is nothing, they don't go there. So fortunately, somebody decided to tip off the police. They went to that farm where 2 billion worth of drugs was produced. They were produced in that place, and the same drugs are killing young people in South Africa. Again, where was the intelligence when such things happen? When there is a lot of crime in a country, you need the police force and the intelligence to beef up so that don't come across problems. So I was just on that. Let me just go back to. I was just on this where Ryan says that the Libyans were sent to South Africa to receive training as special forces. I mean, how does such a thing happen in South Africa and nobody knows about it? Our intelligence knows nothing about it. And next thing we know that they are police. And when you go down, it says, should be noted that the Tariq bin Ziyad militia has been found to have committed various war crimes in Libya, violent, suppressing any form of dissent to the LNA and Khalifa Haftar. Here is an amnesty report on group and its various acts. Again, violent crimes. We are not saying these guys came here to be violent, but really, if they came into South Africa and there are reports of such things happening, then we are not safe in South Africa. Anything can happen. And our government is going to tell us that we are on top of it. At one point, there were reports in Sandton that there could be bombing by USA ambassador together with his team. They decided to issue a statement saying that Sandton, people in Sandton should be careful. Our own intelligence did not know about it. The US decided to issue a statement without even having a conversation with the government, which again tells you that South Africa, people do as they like because the rule of law, people are just walking around being given positions. It's like nepotism in South Africa. People do as they like. In the end, we find ourselves in trouble. So as soon as they beef up the security and then make sure that they work on beefing South Africa, maybe things will change. But as of now, we are in a danger zone. Remember, there are reports that the spaza shops that you see in South Africa that are run by mostly Somalians. There were reports that those things are funding the Al Qaeda, the ISIS, those Islamic attackers. Those spazas, there were reports that they are funding those missions of the Islamic attacks. Now, you really wonder if South Africa is relaxing, enjoying themselves, and they have so many spazas that are not regulated, and there are reports that those things are funding the Islamic attacks, Islamic forces, then what are our intelligence doing about it? Because if they can't do anything about it, one day we are going to wake up. South Africa will be under attack. So as you can see, this is where these guys have been enjoying the training, making sure that South Africa is the place to be. That which they call security training, military training, hidden. This is where they've been training. As you can, don't just train like this, more like special forces. That is where they enjoy the training. So yeah, that is the issue about it. As of now, they've been arrested, they appeared, and then the matter has been postponed for further investigations. So you must be rest assured these guys probably go home free because they will say that we have done nothing wrong. Don't have to be arrested. That is probably what we are. So from that issue, there's another issue that is burning in issue of Jacob Zuma. The ANC has finally taken a decision on Jacob Zuma to say that Jacob Zuma is not the man that we want in the ANC, because this Jacob Zuma, who says that he's part of the ANC but supports the MK party, the ANC decided we are finally expelling you as the. They confirmed it yesterday to say that charged member is found guilty of contravening Rule 25.17.17.4 of the ANC Constitution, read with subsection 2 for prejudicing the integrity or repute of the organization by acting in collaboration with the registered political party, which is the Umkhonto weSizwe, which is not affiliated, which is not in alliance with the ANC in a manner contrary to the aims, policies, objectives of the. So basically, Jacob Zuma been expelled, and there's a clip where his representative, the man who was supposed to represent him, and fortunately, ANC said we don't want physical DC. We are going to do an online. We are going to have this whole thing over Zoom, and Zuma was not pleased by the fact that the ANC wants to convene this DC over Zoom. This is what Tony Yengeni had to say about issue of Jacob Zuma.
You're surprised. His demeanor was that of a person who was very relaxed. Actually, we were laughing throughout the conversation. when I was telling him the story of what transpired. But on a serious note, Mshulu is unmoved. He believes that the platform used to take him to a DC is not the right one. He doesn't understand why his own organization, his own movement that is served for so long, wants to take him to a DC through a computer and not person to person, so that the serious issues that are confronting him are discussed between comrades, face to face, not through a phone, not through a computer. So he's not moved when it comes to that platform. He thinks that there should be a person-to-person interaction. He was the deputy president at some point, was a president at some point. He should be treated with respect.
That is Tony Ngeni, the representative of Jacob Zuma. Jacob Zuma demands respect, and he demands that he wanted the whole thing to be done physical. You know, if it's physical, Jacob Zuma is going to go there together with his. When they get there, they will be felt by the ANC. But fortunately, the ANC decided that is not how we are going to do the whole thing. Jacob Zuma, if you want to be part of the DC, do it over Zoom and you are expelled. And really, it's funny because Jacob Zuma says that he feels that he needs to be respected and the whole thing needed to be done direct. But really, this is the leader of the MK party who was a member of the ANC. So by being the leader of the MK party, I feel like, why did Zuma not just leave peacefully? I feel like he wants to make a statement, but he could have just left peacefully and focus mainly on the fact that he's the president of the MK party. It really cannot be that you can be the leader of MK party and still be a member of the ANC. That is what Fikile Mbalula says on the next clip, because even myself, I'm not a member of the ANC, but if I was in that leadership position, I would have never allowed that.
But Kangaroo Court is that MK, where everybody is expelled without a due process. Who are they to lecture people about a due process? At the MK party, we read in the press that you are dismissed. You don't know when was the DC. They've not even gone to a conference to have a structured party. You don't know who you speak with there. Because if you speak to this one, tomorrow he might have left and dismissed. Now, we are told by political non-entities about how to run a party. I mean, when in a few months, they've not shown any of the good deeds of a good party in terms of governing a party. In the ANC, you've got a DC. Whether it's virtual or what, you are allowed to be represented. You are not just dismissed. And these people, they don't go to court to fight for dismissal. You are appointed secretary, you don't know who appointed you. And others, depending on your proximity next to Zuma, you can be something big without even campaigning in an election. Where was Lope? On door-to-door, campaigning for MK. Where is Jabulani? The man who started this thing gave us trouble, went to the IEC, registered. I was with him in Bloemfontein. I was with him in Durban, fighting for the trademark. Where is he? He's in the streets, nowhere to be found, not even in parliament. He tried to go to parliament, they dealt with him without a disciplinary process. Now, we are lectured by these people. Please, man. Please, we're ready for anything. As the ANC, we're happy that we have reached this stage. We'll defend our actions and to the end in relation to Jacob Zuma. We believe politically and morally and otherwise we're on the right path.
That is Mr. Fikile Mbalula responding to the matter of Jacob Zuma. My feeling is that it is done. MK Party has decided to get those votes from the ANC, reducing them to 40%. They've done their work. They've won. Now, the issue of Zuma, really, I think even Zuma should just allow it to just pass and say that it is done. Let us just move on, because at this point, you cannot really fight the ANC. They are wounded. And remember, there is something that is going on where a lot of people believe that as soon as the ANC drops to 40%, they will not have anywhere to go. Then they will have to choose EFF and MK Party. But the ANC has done something that was not expected and decided to side with the DA, but knowing very well that if they only do a coalition with the DA, a lot of people are not really going to agree with that move. They invited the rest of the political parties into the matter, and then they formed the Government of National Unity. That is something the EFF and the Umkhonto weSizwe Party did not anticipate, because dropping the ANC meant that ANC will then come and beg to work with them. That is not the case. We've seen Ramaphosa opening of parliament, and we've seen how a lot of people really brought their speeches and they attacked the ANC. If I was in the position of the ANC, I would do the same thing as them, because at this point, we need to change what is happening in South Africa. We've had a governance of the ANC for over 30 years. A lot of corruption has been happening. You can't even intercept 95 Libyans coming into South Africa. You can't even have the intelligence to know what is going on. And then we have to really say that the ANC was working. Now, you look at it in the form of the GNU, you say that the ANC is no longer alone. They can try and do some action, and then we can judge them based on that. Even, Julius Malema said the fact that he doesn't see the ANC the GNU going above 2 years. That is what he said. And Cyril Ramaphosa actually said that, and the rest of the GNU people, whatever Julius is thinking about is not going to happen. They are going to run smoothly. For me, is that if GNU works and it delivers, we are all supposed to be happy, regardless of who belongs to what. Because we don't become happy, we focus on politics, the country will never go anywhere, because we are not sure. Those political parties that are not part of the GNU, we are not really sure if they can bring something different. They must become the opposition, fight as opposition, and let us see what challenge they bring and what opposition they bring to what the GNU is giving us. I think with the DA on board, the ANC and together with other political parties, we are not going to see the corruption that we've been seeing. We are going to see a smooth and functional government that actually, if it doesn't work, at least they would have tried. But we have already seen, there was a prisoner, the guy from Zimbabwe, he decided to take a video to say that in South Africa, we are enjoying life. Everything is perfect. We're having lunch. We are enjoying. It's like a hotel. And Peter Groenewald issued a statement to say that bring that man forward. Make sure that man is being dealt with. He's been taken to solitary confinement. That guy is in maximum cell. He's not going to see the sun for as long as he can think of, because you make an example with people who don't really take the system serious. South Africa criminals know that in South Africa, if you have a politician, things will go easy. Sorry for going on for such a long time. Guys, I see there are 165 of you. I thought we can have a conversation. If you have a comment or something to say about any of the topics, we can do that. We normally have the conversations, but it seems like you guys are not really willing to take part today. But anyway, as long as you can hear me, I asked anybody if they can comment to say that you are loud and clear. But I'll just keep going. I would assume you guys can hear. So from the topic of Fikile Mbalula, you have the one of I hope I will pronounce okay, Hawelo. But the fact of the matter point is either left or right. Better believe EFF and MK will campaign. I understand you, Hawelo. I understand you. Um, EFF and MK will do, and really, um, remember one thing about politicians that I respect them for that is that politicians will promise you whatever you want. I'm not really singling out EFF or MK, but I'm really saying the rest of the politicians. They would promise you anything and say we can do this for you. Give them the opportunity. They will give you complaints. Politicians are not people you can really trust, but because you are forced to really believe and go after behind them because we believe that they are going to change our country and give us proper things, we have no choice. But the GNU is what we have. Unfortunately, the EFF and MK must sit at the back and try and see how they can do better. I mean, the EFF went down to 9%, and one would have thought they would have performed better than they did, but unfortunately, they have to wait for 5 years and also see the 2026 elections on how they are going to do. Actually, I'm really going to cover the whole elective conference, a countdown of the EFF, and also do some videos on the decisions of the leadership. I really have a view on that. I believe a lot of people have a view. I have a view on what needs to happen for the EFF to really go and improve in the next 5 years and even in 2026. And that will be a change of leadership. Not entirely everyone, but I think that's just a matter for another day. As of now, unless you guys want to really focus on that, but as of now, we can go to the issue of Miss South Africa, the pageant. And I don't think it's really important in 2024 to be hosting a pageant. There's a lady who has a parent, both parents are not South Africans. The other is Nigerian, and the other is, I think the mother is Mozambican and the father is Nigerian. So she would be taking part as the finalist in the Miss South Africa. I'll get back to that, however. So, Chidimma Detsini, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. This lady has been picked as a finalist. And people, South Africans are saying that no way are we going to allow South Africans to let this lady compete, knowing very well that she's not South African. Yes, she was born in South Africa, but the parents who gave birth to this lady, none of them were South Africans. So they are saying that just so South Africans are saying that well, we don't want her to compete with the rest of South Africans. In case she wins, who is she going to be representing in this as Miss South Africa? Because she is not an original South African. That is a very big debate on social media. And one person who really had a say about it, and I was a bit confused by Gayton Mackenzie commenting on that issue, because I felt it's a very sensitive issue, but it needs someone who really has a sober mind to really comment on it. Let's just do this. So, a second, guys, just to go back on it. This is the comment by Gayton. Let me find it. Okay. Like we can be foreigners. John Magana. Well, I believe you agree with the rest of the people who don't want to see that girl competing. So we'll get to that. We'll get your comment and your view on that. Let me just. Okay. So, Chris Excel, the famous Twitter user, says, "How do you feel about this Miss S.A. Shandy's my goat?" Referring to Gayton, the Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture. And Gayton says, "I just returned from Paris and will definitely get more information tomorrow. We truly cannot have Nigerians compete in our Miss SA competition. I want to get all facts before I comment, but it gives funny vibes already." Gayton has already commented. The fact that he wants to comment as soon as he gets all information doesn't make sense. He has already given an opinion. Gayton doesn't believe that a Nigerian should be competing in the Miss South Africa. So, as the rest of the people who are commenting that they cannot allow such a thing to happen in South Africa, Gayton agrees with them by saying that a Nigerian cannot be our Miss South Africa. One debate that a lot of South Africans keep having, and people are calling them xenophobic, is that we love South Africa. As we love South Africa, we don't want South Africa to turn into a country that is just law. There's no law in South Africa. Everybody do as they like. And as of now, it is going to that direction because the level of crime, the things that are done in South Africa, it's a shame. If nothing is done, we are going to really regret in the coming years. And you can really point it to both the locals and foreigners. Because a lot of crime, to be honest, and not to sound xenophobic, it is done by foreigners and also South Africans. It's both of them. But really, as a country, you cannot have a lot of crime being committed by foreigners. That said, it doesn't mean that locals are allowed to commit crime. But when you have the stats and a lot of foreigners are committing crime, you must really worry because it means that country that you live in, there is no law, there is no order. People are doing as they like. You need a minister, you need police that are going to keep the law in South Africa respected. One issue that South Africa needs to deal with, especially the president, is the fact that there is a whole complaint about illegal foreigners. Even the Dudula put South Africa first, they've done it. But as you have that, you really need to focus on keeping order in the country. Now, going back to the issue of Gayton, respectfully, Gayton cannot really go and say something like that, a tweet like that, before even getting that enough information. People can defend and say, no, he's not wrong. It is not to say he's wrong, but he needed to wait to have all information and then go in public. So as of now, Gayton is not tweeting as a minister of sports, arts and culture. He's tweeting as an individual. But unfortunately, you cannot separate the minister and the individual. As soon as you become a minister, you are no longer an individual. It doesn't matter what his view is on this fact. My view is that if really there's evidence in terms of this lady not competing because he is not really eligible to be part of that pageant, then she should be put aside. Life should go on as normal. But if the Miss South Africa feels and they've done everything, investigated and made sure that this person qualifies, that is under government. I mean, Gayton is a Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture, but that is privately funded, the Miss South Africa. So if they feel that they're going to continue with that, of course they're going to get backlash. They must really attend to that matter and make sure that all parties are satisfied. However, the problem with SA is they think they are cream of the continent, like the suburb boys in the cousin feeling superior, getting that his very parents come from Kasi. Okay, I hear you. So you feel like South Africans are behaving somewhat. Oh, sorry, that's John. So basically, back to my point, I was just disturbed by that comment. Um, Gayton needs to really sit down, get the fact together, and make sure that before he responds, he knows what's going on because this thing can really get him in trouble. We are all for the fact that we cannot have a Nigerian taking the spots of South Africans. I don't have the whole information about it, but I feel like if the information points to the fact that she's not eligible to be in that contest, then she shouldn't be part of it. But if really that privately funded Miss South Africa has all the power, has done everything, unfortunately, South African will not have the power to really negotiate a way out of that. And one thing, she's going to be representing South Africa in the continent, Miss Universe, those things. That is why the people of South Africa are saying she's not originally South African. She comes from a Zimbabwean and a Nigerian. So she's not really going to be having our blood and representing us. There is a whole debate about who is South African and who is African. So I don't have a lot of view about it, but I thought Gayton must really behave and be careful about that issue. Then the next up, we have the issue of the economic freedom fighters, Julius Malema. Julius says he's going to build RDPs in Orania. If you don't know Orania, it is a small place in Northern Cape, and it's Afrikaner only. They live there. They have their own currency. I did a whole video about it a month ago, and a lot of people were angry about the fact that I was speaking about Orania. But anyway, Orania is a place in Northern Cape, and they have more like their constitution because those guys, they have their currency, their bank, which works together hand in hand with our Reserve Bank, even authorized by our Reserve Bank because they do transactions with our Reserve Bank, and they are known that there is Orania. Petrol attendants, everything. Hey, petrol comes there. Their filling station, they have everything. I don't know if they have Orange Cape wants to be independent. They want to be similar to what Lesotho is because, come on, let's be honest, Lesotho, Swaziland, they are in South Africa. When you look at it, they should have just been provinces in South Africa. Lesotho should have just been the Free State. Swaziland should have either been Mpumalanga. So they should have just been part of South Africa. Now you have Lesotho in South Africa. You fly across South Africa. You fly in South Africa into another country. Weird. But anyway, the issue of Orania, Julius says is going to build RDPs in Orania once they get power. Let me play the clip.
Zamani soul, Kimpimpi, Kiaskari, Warekisha. That's why Arleko Freedom Front Plus, Ar Otabafa Orania, Yabayama Afrikaner alone, Akasi Bonin Teu. It will never happen. Orania belongs to us. Comrades, when we take over Northern Cape and take over South Africa, we are going to build RDP houses in Orania and send our people to go and stay in Orania. Heban, asanga ratsepa hore re tla bona re sa phela. ANC rekisa lefatshe. Zamani Soulu, ka o rata di blue lights, a re mpeng di-blue lights ke tla lefa lefatshe ka o rata maemo a tsamaya a khisana le maburu a meno a mayelo a re o ba fa lefatshe la mo Northern Cape. Northern Cape, it's our land. Northern Cape belongs to us. No one will sell the Northern Cape, not to the poor, not to the colonizers. Northern Cape will be returned in the hands of Africans.
That is Julius Malema referring to
Zamani Soul.
Orania. Orania is a place, well, really shocking that. Anyway, guys, as we are busy talking, I see there are 30 likes on the stream. If you can like, if you haven't liked the stream, please click the like. That's the best we can do, guys. I would appreciate it. As we are clicking that like, let's go back to the issue of Julius Malema. So Julius says he's not happy with the fact that Zamani Soul is selling out and wanting to really recognize Orania. I should probably play the clip again.
Zamani Soul, Kimpimpi, Kiaskari, Warekisha. That's why Arleko Freedom Front Plus, Ar Otabafa Orania, Yabayama Afrikaner alone, Akasi Bonen Teu.
So just to go back to it, I now understand. Okay. Before, when there were negotiations, the GNU negotiations, Freedom Front Plus, well, AfriForum, Freedom Front Plus, that's the same thing. Freedom Front Plus said that we are willing to work with the ANC, but we need the protection and the recognition of Orania as a private place that is only for the Afrikaners. And there were talks of the ANC in the Northern Cape saying that we accept what you want to do, and for us to get your support, we are going to really consider that option.
It will never happen. Orania belongs to us. Comrades, when we take over Northern Cape and take over South Africa, we are going to build RDP houses in Orania and send our people to go and stay in Orania. Hey, man.
I don't know about that. I mean, I understand the direction Malema is taking. They are going to build RDPs in Orania. First of all, you have to go to Orania before you can build. Are we really going to have a conversation about the fact that our leadership in terms of the government has just let something like Orania be? One understand that it might take a lifetime for EFF to be in government, considering how the people of South Africa have reacted to the EFF. Might take a lifetime, or even, I don't even think Julius Malema would be president of the EFF by the time they probably take over, unless a big change is done in the EFF. We might see a situation where they will have to work hard for them to be able to say that we have arrived, because politics is not an easy thing. We have seen how the people rejected the EFF. Okay, I hear you, Emmanuel. We have seen how the people have reacted to Julius. It might take a lifetime. I mean, a lifetime, I'm probably speaking about 25, like in prison when they say 25 years, before EFF can get the opportunity where they are going to say that, let us go and build RDPs in Orania. By that time, Orania is as big as Lesotho, because our president and the rest of them are allowing what is happening. Not to say that people must hate on another color or another ethnic, But we cannot have that kind of situation where Orania is going to be in South Africa and then suddenly they form their own province. It's more like now they want to be a province that is going to be recognized and respected. I hear what Julius is saying, but the thing is that it might not happen. If Ramaphosa doesn't decide that he's going to really open a topic about Orania, then just accept that Orania is just going to be one thing that is going to continue going. Tabiso, who's this now? I'm not sure if you're referring to me or what, but you might want to ask that question again. Then let's go back to the issue of, I said something about the issue of the EFF. After Orania escaped independence, how well you are right, because who are you member? Tabiso, are you new here? That would be the question, because we've always been on daily updates. It's just that there was no video, it's just voice alone. But welcome, Tabiso. If you haven't subscribed, you're probably gonna be part of it to subscribe. Hawelo says after Orania is going to be Cape Independence. Of course, the fact that you have a situation where a political party says recognize Orania and protect it for us to be part of you, it is such a questionable thing, because now, if now a certain tribe goes and form their own party and say that, let me just make an example, not to anger anybody, and just say we are Tswana, Pedi, or Zulus. We are going to stay at a place, and then we are doing things by ourselves, and then we don't need any other ethnic or any other culture. We are going to criticize that, because this is South Africa. We should all be part of the same thing. That is the question with Orania. Why have they let it take so long for it to be a conversation? Where were they when it started? In the 90s, when they started deciding. I mean, if you look at the history, after apartheid was ended, a certain group decided we are not going to live with the rest of them. We are living by ourselves. Why did they let it be like that? I know that there are reports that there were weapons and whatnot that were destroyed, but the government of ANC should have made sure that everything is settled. There is no secret. You don't have to have something like Orania. This is not Europe, where we are going to have just a small island that it has its own rules and everything. Bukosi says, welcome, Bukosi. Says Orania wouldn't be a bad idea if it wasn't this policy of anyone who isn't Bure. I absolutely agree with you, Bukosi. Once they say that we are only Afrikaners alone, that's where the issue started. It means now you are segregating. It means it's more like apartheid. It's more like we want to live in the apartheid system. But we know that apartheid has ended. I mean, what other explanation would one have? Emmanuel says, I feel those residents in Orania, they have something which as a country we are not told. A question would be then, why has we had Nelson Mandela? That's when this thing started. We had Thabo Mbeki. We had Jacob Zuma. We have Ramaphosa. All these four presidents, they were there before the freedom. They were part of the negotiations. We had TRC. People were forgiven. You want to see, go to YouTube and just search TRC videos, and you are going to see a whole lot of videos that are under the SABC, where they're showing you how people were treated and how they started coming together to have a conversation. But then we had these presidents. They did nothing. They just looked at Orania and be like, as long as there are no fights, we are fine. Those presidents are gone. We are left with the current one, Ramaphosa. Zuma is gone. He formed MK. Thabo Mbeki is no longer president Nelson Mandela, may his soul rest in peace. Those guys had an opportunity to make sure that South Africa is not divided. While we are speaking about Orania, let me tell you about another current topic. Excuse me. This is a video. Unfortunately, the audio is not that perfect, but I will play it after just having an explanation. It really connects to what Orania is and what I'm speaking about in terms of these presidents. You know, we've been in South Africa and we've went through segregation, and it has been over 30 years since freedom. I was really disturbed to see that there are reports that over a week or so, Pretoria High School for Girls, there were 12 learners who created a WhatsApp group. In that WhatsApp group, they were really posting racism, racist comments, racist pictures, and really directing it towards the rest of the learners in that school. Those learners have now been told to go home, suspended. The principal has been suspended for 3 months. We are tying it up with Orania. The principal has been suspended for 3 months. By being suspended, it means the principal knew about the whole issue and he didn't really take correct measures for that issue to be resolved. Now you go back. The question, how do we have young kids, young learners who know about racism, who are being racist towards each other? How do we have that? We've had South Africa, the presidents who came and gone, and now we're still talking about I would have understood if it's still Penny Sparrow being racist, but I cannot really accept a young kid growing up to be racist. It means somebody taught that kid racism. So that kid grew with a racist mentality. That is where the parents are really putting their kids in danger because they are going to grow into a society that doesn't accept racism. One thing South Africa needs to take care of, deal with the issue of crime, legal foreigners, and then deal with the issue of racism. If you really solve these three things, yes, maybe next elections we are all going to vote ANC, DA, or those other parties. But because they are not going to deal with it, you might have a problem. Let me play this clip, guys. Sorry for talking so long. This is the clip about, just going to fast forward it to where the audio is perfect, about the issue of racism in that school, the Pretoria High School.
What they said that it was she was the first to control the ring. The she got victimized, but she did come forward, and we were able to get that evidence. So based on that, while we are still busy with the disciplinary process, we have taken a decision to suspend the principal of the school up until we conclude this matter. We appointed the deputy principal, one of the deputies, to come in and act. In the interim, now the issue is that the principal stayed on the property. So it doesn't mean that when we've suspended her, then obviously she can take her bags and go home, have a home peace. But if you, sometimes you see her not the school property in the yard that we have designated her to stay. Just understand that that's where she stayed.
Seems like the audio is really
that the principal represent the school. In the old regime, these are kids who are born in democracy. These are kids who know nothing but democracy. So when these things come up, you realize that perhaps the problem might not necessarily be the children.
Okay, I'm probably not gonna have to play it because perfect audio. But then maybe before we finish, these guys like the stream. But then before we finish, I said something about we are going to have a topic about the incoming, the scheduled elective conference, of the EFF, because it's scheduled to be coming in December. So now the question, we are probably going to have to do another stream of a video about it, because the survival of the EFF is not just something to take lightly. Not to say that the EFF is going to die, but the leadership is something that is going to take the EFF and improve what happened to that 9%. So EFF is going to its conference in December. And they are going to be creating a top 6. And of that top 6 has to work towards bringing probably 15% and improve on the 9%, because 9% is something they were not expecting. So I'm sure you guys are tired now, because I see you are no longer active on the comments. But I was interested in knowing, what do you guys feel about the EFF leadership in terms of what is going to happen in December? Because I have a feeling that for EFF to really survive and do well, some leaders have to be dropped. Of course, some have to remain, but some leaders have to be dropped. As I see you guys, as you are not commenting on it, we're probably gonna end it here. But I feel like, according to my view, I would like to see Julius, as he steps up to say that he's taking another term. Floyd should also accept and say that I am contesting Julius, not because there is any fighting or differences between them, but because the survival of the EFF will depend on the competition. If Floyd contests Julius, even if Floyd loses, people are probably going to bring the confidence based on that competition. I believe that Emmanuel, but South Africa is on autopilot now, taking into account what? On issue Orania and military base action mafia. Yeah, you are right. You are correct, Emmanuel. So I'm saying that I think we started by that topic of military base together with that one of drugs. But I am saying that without trying to be smart or bring division, we must really be honest. What is going to happen in the elective conference will be the survival of EFF. For EFF to survive, there must be competition in leadership. I've seen the first and the second. The CIC was not contested. Nothing, no disrespect, and not to say that it was wrong for them not to contest him. But since they got 9%, he has to be contested. Either Floyd or someone. Who else? I mean, Ndozi can try and contest, and I mean, he can try and do that. But someone has to go and contest and say that we are not contesting because we feel like you are not enough, Julius. We are contesting because we feel like the survival depends on showing the rest of South Africa that if Malema wins, it is because the rest of the people were willing to show that it is not only about Julius. John says EFF must change their leader if they want to grow. We can't be forced to allow foreigners to come here and do as they please. Look at that Zimbabwe who was training in prison singing Living Nice. I spoke about that. Yeah, but really, I don't mind Julius being a president again, but I will only be happy if Julius is a president who was contested. First elective conference, not contested. Second one, not contested. The third he has to be contested, especially because the EFF got 9%. MK Party, well, they came. MK Party came, and by coming in, it was obvious because they were taking the votes of the ANC. We can't really say that MK beat EFF, but We know MK took the rest of the votes. A lot of people were aligning themselves with Jacob Zuma. So now the fact that those people got the votes, we can't really blame the EFF. And I don't think the people who voted for MK came from the EFF. They came from the ANC. What happened is that the EFF lost their vote based on what they said. And I really want to see this. If Julius is contested, I want to see maybe Ndozi being given a position. I heard Julius speaking about the fact that he doesn't see a competition or contestation between Dlamini and who's this guy? Dlamini and Ndozi. And while sitting down, I said, if Ndozi really contests Dlamini, it would be very beautiful to see Ndozi winning. As the SG, from now on, what they have to do, Julius must not always be the speaker of each and every press conference. Again, this is not to bash any EFF member or EFF leadership. Let us just speak the honest. Julius must not address each and every conference, and he must not address each and every rally. What we heard during the election is that Julius was going around, I even commended him for doing that, was going around South Africa, and the spotlight was on him. And he went all around, and by the time he went to Polokwane, Peter Mokaba, Josie came and addressed and spoke about the issue of illegal immigration and spoke about the borders. And a lot of people really liked the message of Ndozi, which really says when Julius was really addressing, they should have given a lot of time also to the rest of the leaders. Give Floyd a chance to speak. Give Ndozi. When you have press conferences, let this SG address. We don't see Ramaphosa addressing every day. We see SG speaking every day because Ramaphosa has to intervene when it's something that really needs the attention. I understand he's the leader of the government. But what I would want to see is having Ndozi as the SG. Let Ndozi go and speak everywhere. And if you are contesting, if it's the 2026 local elections, Julius goes and address on his part if he's going to be the president. Ndozi goes and address. Floyd goes and address. Let the different speakers address different people. We've heard Julius speaking since 2014. The fact that he continues to speak, some people do not accept or do not get the message because they've heard Julius for so many times. Even if he comes and say that we are going to reduce the price, why can't you? We are going to reduce the price of bread. People are not going to accept it. Tabiso, why are you guys talking about EFF? I can see you have nothing to do. Well, actually, you just came in because we've been speaking about a whole range of things. The reason we are speaking about EFF is because they are going to elective conference. And we are trying to speak about the fact that what would really have to happen if the EFF is to improve. So, yeah, I agree with you. Malema mustn't take all the spotlight. And by doing that, by giving this leadership an opportunity to really spread, EFF is very important. I can't lie about that. And no one should hate EFF. They are really important. But sometimes their terms are misplaced. And people don't want you to be controversial. People want you to be direct and say that you are my family member. I will fight for you before I go and save the next door. Literally. People sometimes want that. If you can't give me, let's look at it this way. All politicians were saying that we are going to improve SASA payment. We are going to give you 2,000. We are going to improve that 350. Because they know that the poor are going to understand. But one thing you don't realize, not all of these people go and vote. Not all the beneficiaries of 350 go and vote. So what people need to do is to go and say that South Africans, I will save you before I save anybody else. They are going to listen. John, Well, and again, Julius said we must vote for him, and we because he's so we are talking about policy, not political parties. So, as I said, some people like Tabiso would feel like you are being against a political party. So that's basically that needs to happen. EFF is important. Um, guys, I've posted a lot of um, uh, EFF videos. Unfortunately, to be honest, I got in trouble with that um, for elections doing that. But EFF is a very important part of South Africa and politics. They brought something that we did not think about. And by bringing that, they could not just go the same way. I mean, every time you expect EFF to start by being um, by just causing chaos in parliament, you can't have that every day. You have this, and next time you must change. That is how people really align with you. You can't give the same message and expect people to be happy. Hawelo says, my top six. It's Malema, obviously, the president, Shivambu, the deputy, Dozi, Veronica, Chirwa, and Umpile. Umpile, okay. I mean, Chirwa, Hawelo, do you think Chirwa would really get a position there? I believe Chirwa is excellent. And I know they put her in legislature, and I would have loved her to be in parliament. She's bright, and she's very outspoken. But is she ready for the top six? Probably not. But I mean, I think she's still young. The same way Ndozi was a few years ago when they didn't give Ndozi that any chance to be in the top six, but now he's ready. I think we can give Kira maybe 5 more years before she's ready to go in that. And I think, yeah, well, Umpilo is good, and one person who I can't really negotiate is Veronica. Veronica has to stay on that top six. Malema Shivambu have to stay, but I would have wanted to see Shivambu contesting Julius. And I think if you really look into it, you can bring someone like who's this lawyer? Dalimpofu. You can probably put Dalimpofu there. It's just that they are going to need more women, unfortunately. But you'd have wanted Dalimpofu to be there, but I would think maybe Dalimpofu would come and contest Shivambu, even if Dali loses. That is where I'm saying there must be competition so that we say these leaders who are representing us, the fair game. And next time when they go and say that vote for us, we are confident. A restructuring needs to happen because the EFF is a very, very important organization in South Africa. And unfortunately, they are not part of the GNU, but they can do well by improving. It is going to be a test to see in December when people are going to vote for the new leadership. It is going to be interesting. Just wait for the coming months from October. All the focus will be on the EFF. But ANC conference is going to be more crazy. Rumors say Mbalula wants to be the president. Well, however, that is going to be when? 2028. That's not going to happen anytime soon. So, 4 years is a long time. Some people will be dead by then. Some people won't be part of an organization. So it's a long time coming. But let's focus on what we are going for now. And I've seen you guys came. We were as far as 170, and I know we are just starting. I really appreciate you guys being part of this. No, really. EFF is Malema, and Malema is the EFF, so going to be president. So, guys, I think I'm going to do another live stream probably by Thursday. I post on the community, and then if you're following the channel, first thing you can do is just click on the notification bell. From now on, we are going to have live streams every week. I know there are a lot of topics to speak about. Sometimes you don't get people joining in, but um, the same way I'm saying EFF is a very important part of South African politics. Daily updates is a very important part of our YouTube. Unfortunately, something happened before the election that really took me back, and I didn't like what happened because I tried to reach out to the that decided to take down our video, but they didn't want to listen. Um, they are politicians, like politicians. They never want to listen. So, but we are back um, in good standing. Hopefully, things go as normal. It's going to take some time until we are at the top again because we're at the top. As you look now, there are a lot of channels that were inspired by us, but it's only for us to work hard and go back to where we were. It's unfortunate that during elections we couldn't even get recommended on YouTube because our two videos were taken down. But again, we're probably going to have a live stream on Thursday, have a conversation. I'm glad you guys were part of this, commenting and having something to say about it. So let's wait until Thursday. We're still going to be posting videos on the channel. But otherwise, guys, thank you for tuning into the channel. Till next time. Cheers.